Hello everyone, this is Adrian with another release for Avo. This is 3.21. We have a short release, a few enhancements and a few bug fixes. And we are going to talk about Avo 4 and some new cool stuff that we've been working on. So that's really exciting. So let's go into the release notes and get them bottom up. So maintenance, updating a bunch of stuff, refactor, remove dead code. I'm not even going to get there. Store accessor supported in key value field. This is just a tiny tweak to actually support store accessor. Allow progress field to submit nil values. Thank you so much, Simon. Move card logic from component. Again, this is just a refactor. Bug fixes. Keep filter value when using fetch values from. Okay, this was a fix. Self-query for standalone index control. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, so populate self-query for standalone actions. So you basically know what the query is whenever you're popping up that standalone action. Fix filters on association field. That's exactly that. Raw actions on array resources. These weren't previously working and now they are. So that's good. Belongs to when using for attribute. Again, this was probably not working. Yes, and now it is. Fix Avo prefix on nested form. So yep, this was an edge case, I think, that popped up from time to time. Tag fields on nested forms. Those weren't working and now they do. So nested keeps getting better and better. Keep actions drop down visible on top when opened. We had an issue with, I think, some Z float through. There were some issues there. Now they should be solved. Thank you, Ryan, for your contribution. Hide polymorphic holder div. Yep, I think this was for stacked or unstacked. Oh yeah, okay. Just a tiny thing here, like a tiny UI. And now that's fixed. Belongs to polymorphic on clusters. Again, this was a bug whenever you use a cluster. So you had two polymorphic fields side by side. They didn't look quite right and now they do. Navigation when editing via parent resource. What is this? User has many posts from user. Okay, so when save is clicked, expect to be redirected back to the show page. But yeah, okay, so there was this edge case that was happening and now it's not. Base resource as abstract. This is a refactor under the hood. Again, in fetch resources. And now to the enhancements. Assign action record from index page. This PR ensures that record is hydrated in the action view when the Okay, so when one selected from the index, okay. So whenever you have things like, let's see, fishes, you have actions, the record wasn't properly set inside the action. So you wouldn't know that this was the tilapia, record that we had selected. So now that's fixed. Mount Avo accepts custom. Okay, this is a cool one. So before, we used to do something like, let me see if we have this routing. So before we used to do some other things. We don't have the passcode. So I'm gonna go inside the dummy, and we used to tell you to do something like if defined Avo, if defined Avo engine. Then you do something like this, like if you wanted to add new routes. So you do something like this. So you check if the Avo is mounted, it's defined actually, and then you redraw some of the routes. And now what we did, we changed the API. Since we had mount Avo, now we can do mount Avo do. Let's see, do, where is it? Basically you can do, oh look, mount Avo do, and all of these routes are now going to be available within the Avo engine context. So it's just prettier, it looks better, and we don't have to do this if defined stuff, and it's a little bit more natural like this. So this is a nice API enhancement. Cluster divider, we covered that on belongs to polymorphic on clusters. So now the clusters have this divider option, so you can add this divider or you cannot add it if you don't need it. And add clear license response on deploy. This is something, let me see, where do we have the the documentation for that? So I'm going to let you read this. So if you're deploying on Kubernetes clusters and you have this, we had this customer who did that, and they had this weird scheme of like, creating new pods and shutting them down very quickly, and a lot of them, and that would actually trigger to clear the license response. This is okay in most situations, but it wasn't okay for them because the responses from the license and from other places, they weren't properly being cached. So now you can remove that clearing, and you can have a regular request response cycle and all the caching that you need. So that's about it. So again, it's a small release with the bug fixes, maintenance, and some enhancements that we had working. And now I want to talk to you a little bit about some more experiments that we are doing here around Avo. So we announced last time. Oh no, go away. We don't need this. So we announced last time that we are going to bring collaboration tools. We have a POC open, so chat, status updates, and reactions on records. So we're going to make Avo much more collaborative. Calendar and Kanban views on index, so you can view your records inside a board or a calendar. Improve search experience. We have R&D and proof of concept for search. Next, so thank you, Sach, for this. So there's a PR open for Avo 3 for resource search, so inline search, and we need to do some R&D for the global search. New look and theming, it's R&D. We started playing around with that. RESTful API, R&D, reactive fields, we have a POC, works kind of okay. HTTP resource, POC, nested records, it's out in beta and getting better and better. And a few things that we've been cooking up this past month, and I want to talk to you a little bit about them. So configuration, this is a database-backed configuration engine for general use. So imagine you can do things like, so the API, it's probably not going to be exactly like that, but avo config.get, and you have like a key, like homepage CTA, like homepage CTA label or something, or you can even do things like this CTA label, or you can get it, but before you can set it, and the value is get started, and now you can use this throughout, and everything would get backed by the database, and now you can fetch it wherever you need to do to fetch it. And this is in preparation. You can use this in multiple places, but in preparation for something else that we're going to talk about. So this is basically the gist. You can do things like, I think you can set the type, although we can infer it from this version, and we can also do something like eager load, and you can set that to true. So now if this is a setting that you need in more places, it'll get eager loaded when Avo boots up or your app boots up. So if you have multiple of these, so label, URL, color, and some other things, instead of having like 4 queries to the database, we only have 1 because we query them and we hold them into memory, and then you can get them and so on. So this is a rather abstract general backed configuration engine. And this is going to be used in multiple places, but one of the places is inside the form builder. So we have a POC for this. So it's a general purpose form builder, but let me go to Tailwind UI. So basically, application UI forms, you'll be able to create forms kind of like this one. which are general purpose. They're not tied to a resource. Imagine exactly this, like the profile and username and about. Like this thing right here could be a form where some things belong to a user model, some things may belong to a profile model or record, and a user has one profile. If you want to do that, then you have some personal information, maybe notifications. This may belong to a different settings somehow. You can even use the settings gem. So in this scenario, you can do something like, it's probably not the most optimal thing, but you could do something like, let's see, notifications, and then you'd say user ID, right? And then you'd say comments. And this would be true or false, right? Let's see, true or false, depending on what you do. So see how you can mash these things together. And whenever you hit save, the API is similar. So the API for the form builder is similar to the actions where you have the handle method. And whenever you hit save, the handle method gets run, and you can take those values and do something with them. So that's the form builder. We do have a few other things in mind. So we'll probably show you a few examples once we get it properly set up. Next thing, in UI dashboard editing. So right now you can create and manage dashboards using the file. So dashboards and cards, you can have to create a new one every time, but we want to be able to allow you to go to some screen and say, okay, create a new dashboard, and then the dashboard is called sales, and then on the sales dashboard it's empty in the beginning, and then click add new card, and this new card, then it'll ask like, what kind of card do you want? Like a metric? Do you want a chart? And then it'll give you like a query editor, and it's more towards that meta-based kind of editing, but it's not fully meta-based, but it's gonna allow you to create things on the fly inside the UI. Same for in UI scope editing plus dynamic filters. So let's imagine I'm going to go to a project and say something like, hey, I want from Argentina, and apply, and then stage is discovery, and I want this, and I can just hit save somewhere, and I have a scope created which will always have these filters applied, or maybe that scope will use a Rails scope, or it'll use a query editor. So we still have to do some R&D on that, but this again makes Avo a little bit less tied to a developer, and then enables the power users of your app to actually do some things inside, so they don't have to call you every time. Anonymous actions, cards, and scopes. So I'm gonna go to, let's go to the team resource. This would be something like, instead of having like this action and you pass it the action class, you could do something like action, and you say whatever, publish, or publish, and then we have something like handle, and this is a block which gets executed. So you have records .each.record update published, and then you can have something like icon, and you can change the icon, and then you can have label, and you can have visible. So all of the options that you have inside here, like cancel button label and confirm button label and standalone and everything, would be accessible here. So you wouldn't have to create a new action file, which we love this, but sometimes we just want to do it like this, just want a quickie, a quick adding of one action. And this was a little bit inspired from the dynamic filters. So dynamic filter, and then you have some similar way of configuring it. So as I said, this is actions, cards, and scopes. So in the same fashion, you could go inside scopes and say scope published, and this would be query probably, and query where something, right? And cards as well. So you get the point. So we have a few low-hanging fruits where we can actually stop creating so many files, which are great. We love those, but sometimes we just need a quickie action or card or scope. Namespace resources. I know you've been asking for this since probably version 2, maybe 1, I don't know. So having our resources and galaxy planet satellite. So we have a POC done. Paul worked on this today actually, and he has a POC done. And this is it looks pretty good. We still have to check it out there are some weird edge cases, but we are making progress on this. So you'll be able to fully scope your resources to your desire. So that's a good win. Dynamic collections. We have a POC ready and I can actually show it to you. So similar to how I told you before, like you create a new dashboard, you would go somewhere and create a new collection, animal actually, and this created an in-memory and database backed resource called animals. So we have one, I think I had one pre-populated, and if I go to create a new one, actually I have to, so again, this is why we need some more R&D, because there are some things that maybe some things that aren't working very well. So create a new animal, okay, age, and probably this I need to hit edit. What is it? Animal, name, and save. Oh, I know why. So because it's hide on forms. So these are actually two features. One is the dynamic resources, so I can create a new animal called cat, and the age would be like 14, kind of like my cat is 13-ish, 12, I don't know. And yeah, so this resource is not backed by a file, it's backed by the database, and all of the properties you see here are around here. So I'm gonna, again, not here, so see, and all of these properties, as you can see, they're generated on the fly. So I create a new one, let's say furry, maybe it's furry or maybe it's not, and this could be a yes or no, so Boolean. And now we have just a few options here, but we'll probably have more. So if I go inside cat and I hit edit, I can say yes, this is a furry animal, and now everything is inside the database in production. So I think we can build, like, the experience needs a little bit of tweaking around how you add properties and everything, and we probably have a few edge cases here and there, but still this opens up the world to creating new things in memory, and you create, in theory, like unlimited number of resources, the unlimited number of properties, and you can give them a lot of options and so on. So this is dynamic collections, and the same matter is the dynamic property. So you can add properties on resources on the fly inside the UI. Cool. Customizable table view. So you hide, show columns, manage filters, and more inside the UI. So everything inside Avo right now is controlled using the resource file. So if you want to make something filterable, for example, name, or you want to hide or show a column, you have to write a line of code and then deploy it, and that gets deployed, and Avo reboots and reads everything. What if we had kind of like an edit button somewhere? Say, okay, I don't want these two columns because I don't care for them, but I want other columns that are maybe not visible, and I want to make this one sortable and this one filterable and this one summarizable and so on. So basically, we're trying to expose some of those field options outside in the UI. So if you have, again, any power users for your app, they will be able to do some self-serve around this whole experience here. Keyboard shortcuts. We need to have those. I'm a big power user of keyboard shortcuts, but it seems I was lazy. We were lazy to actually include them. And UI driven menu editor, again, having this editor here, maybe drag and drop, add new links, add new things to it from the UI. So again, giving that power user some more help towards, hey, you don't need to call me every time when you need to reorder these menu items. So I think that's about it for the things that we are working on, and we have done some research and development. We've done R&D for some other things as well, but it's getting a little bit, you know, tricky to actually sometimes to actually pick the ones that go into production and the ones that we polish more or we show. So definitely, if you have any feedback about what I just showed you, feedback meaning, you know, that's awesome, that's awful, I want to have it now. You know, this, you know, the form builder should have this, and that, because I built form builders for 10 years now, and, you know, I know those things, and definitely come and tell us about that. Or like, you know, dynamic collections, who needs those? How am I going to use them? And yada, right? And for example, dynamic collections with dynamic properties, those would be able to be used with the RESTful API. So whenever you create a collection, you get that REST API for them. So you can have that API kind of CMS to, you know, headless CMS experience. Cool. Next, we are still looking for a front end oriented Hotwire developer. So, you know, actually, yeah, or a front end developer with a design background. Like, just read these. We do want to redo the UI for Avo. We want to make it up to date. We want to create some more components around it, so you can totally customize the experience inside custom tools, so you can build those faster and better. And we do want to make it themable with dark mode support and all the cool stuff that you know, the current apps have. Another thing that I want to, you know, show you is our blog. So this is our technical blog. So we started I think about 6 months ago, probably October, November. Ezekiel joined us to actually write some content. So he was in charge of like figuring out, okay, what kind of content does the community need, and, you know, also write it and, you know, provide feedback on it, and so on and so on. So we've been quite busy. Actually, Ezekiel has been quite busy in building this content, building out this technical blog. So we cover all sorts of things, from Rails to authentication. We have a lot of authentication articles, OmniAuth, and we recently published Sign In with Apple, and some other, you know, local development topics, and, you know, spam prevention, and also some confetti, you know, some fun stuff as well. JavaScript, you know, Ruby related JavaScript. So all kinds of cool things. So if you want to get these in the mail, we publish one article, I think, every week. If you want to get this in the mail, I'll add a small yes, subscribe me to that newsletter button in this newsletter, or just go to at the bottom of any article and just, you know, email address, first name, last name, and you'll get this kind of content inside the mail, inside your email every week. So Friendly RB is getting closer. We're gonna have an announcement next week. So we have amazing speakers, and a few, like 4 amazing speakers announced. And next week we're gonna announce, I think, 3 more. So definitely stick around. I suggest you purchase the Friday trip. We don't have too many more tickets. We have like a 30 ticket limit there. So if you want to come, definitely buy that ticket earlier rather than later. We are a part of the Ruby Triathlon. What else? Early bird, you know, sold out in the first 2 days. We still have general regular ticket, and then the support ticket if you want some special cool looking swag. So looking forward to hosting you in September, but definitely, you know, buy a ticket if you haven't. If you can sponsor, definitely help us put another great show. And I think we have, you can stay in the loop. You can subscribe to this newsletter as well to get the updates that we're gonna post next week. Yeah, and I think that's about it for today. I hope you are excited as I am, as we are, for the next generation of Avo. We want your feedback again. Like, I know I say that a lot, and I actually appreciate every time somebody pops in the chat or like sends an email or on the GitHub repo, or you know, and sends us the feedback. And we try to respond to, like, I think we respond to every piece of feedback, but we do want that feedback. So I hope you are excited about Avo 4. Yeah, we're gonna be on the Discord and on the GitHub repo and on Twitter. And if you want to reach us, definitely you can do that. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being an amazing community member. And I'll see you next time. See ya.